is America's Mayor live on the eve of Ash Wednesday, which tomorrow will be the day that members really of Western, they describe it as Western Christianity, the Roman Catholic Church, the Episcopal Church, the Lutheran Church, will get ashes. It's a practice that goes back to Roman days. And they will be reminded with those ashes that from dust you have come and to dust you shall return. So it's a rather dramatic, very stark beginning of Lent, and people give something up for Lent. And I am now going to announce with Dr. Maria here, who tries very hard to keep me healthy, and Ted, our good friend, and my decision, which they already know. I'm going to give up, and you have no idea how hard this is. I told you, you got to pick something hard.
Oh, I know what it
like
is.
if I were to say I'm going to give up, if I were to say I'm going to give up cigarettes, I don't smoke cigarettes. If I were to say even cigars, I only smoke them once a week, twice a week, you know?
Like once a month. If that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I mean, I enjoy it, but but it wouldn't be big. I'm giving up all ice cream.
Whoa, that is big.
No ice cream.
News on America's
Yeah, I thought about doing this when Biden was having it, because I thought, and I'm kind of old. I'm not young. I was thinking that maybe the ice cream contributed to the falling going up the stairs. And no, doctor. Okay, so doctor, let's get serious right away, because this is a very serious subject, and I want to treat it responsibly, as I know you do, because I've listened to you on your show, and you do a great job with this. And frankly, you understand it better than I do. So I'm going to give you the floor. And it isn't about the details of this, which Ted will supply in a minute, but the shooting and killing that took place in Rhode Island yesterday. Mm-hmm. It did follow the pattern that's very disturbing, where they wouldn't tell you who it was, and they hit it. But then it became obvious by the end of the day that the shooting was done, the killing was done by a man. By a man who became a woman recently, was transgender, had a crazy bunch of postings, and he killed his wife.
His oldest son. And this is who he shot. His ex-wife, his oldest son, his two in-laws, and a neighbor friend. The ones that are died was his ex-wife and his oldest son. It looked like he was going to shoot more, and a hero tackled him.
Yeah, we saw that. Took him down, but he did get some shots off after.
Well, because he didn't know he had another gun.
Mm-hmm.
He had more than one weapon. So the hero was able to confiscate one weapon, but the shooter had another one, and he killed himself.
Oh, is that all that happened with that weapon?
Yeah.
So the shooter really prevented any more innocent lives being lost.
Correct.
Do we know who not the shooter? The hero. We don't know yet who the hero is.
I don't know, and they're keeping it kind of on the down low for
maybe
whatever
they
reason.
will. Maybe they will eventually. Now, first, I want to ask you the big question, the obvious question, which is with what appear to be growing number.
Yep.
Of these brutal murders that take place.
You can think of them on top of your head, right? This guy was 56 years old, Robert Dorgan. He did go by Roberta Esposito. He called himself a woman, but it's a man. They said he went through a transition. What that is, we don't know. Was he getting hormones? Definitely looks like he had breast implants. As far as anything further on his body, we just don't know. The one right before it in Canada, a man pretending to be a woman or saying he was a woman shoots 9 kids at a school. And then we look before that, a transgender man saying he's a woman shoots up a church, mm-hmm. and then puts the gun on himself. The thing about that one is he hated. Here's a picture too of, I don't know if we can get that. That's the one I'm talking about now.
Which one is that now? The earliest
one
one
with the church.
That's the one in Nash. Was it in
No, not Nashville.
Oh.
But I got that one here. But this was the third one ago. The church, and he had the manifesto.
The one, oh yes, of course,
how
yes,
much
that they
he
kept
hated
hidden and right.
children, and he had on his bullets anti-Trump information and other things.
Well, also, the Charlie Kirk murderer had pro-transgender things and pro-perverted furry things.
Yeah,
and furry is a little ambiguous, but it is a gender.
Yeah, his boyfriend was in that furry transgender realm. And then we do remember the Nashville shooting where a boy, went into the school pretending he's a woman. Now, the media tried to cover that up for years. They hid the manifesto from us. They hid the true identity for a while. Most of these are biological men saying they're women. They'll always be biologically men, no matter what they do to their bodies. They can take hormones. They can get breast implants. They can have penis removal.
Can they? Yes. I've always wondered about that because a lot of them don't have penis.
A lot of them don't. I'm told that Kris Jenner, is that his name? No, sorry. Who? The triathlete.
Caitlyn Jenner. Was it Kris Jenner?
Yes, Kris Jenner was
on the Wheaties. Who was on the Wheaties box?
Yes, we grew up with him on the Wheaties. He was a triathlete. Handsome man too. And
well, I wouldn't say that about this last guy. This last guy doesn't make a good woman because
no.
He really is sort of.
But
I don't know.
Finish my thought. So Jenner decided just to wear makeup, long hair, breast implants, but he kept his penis. This is a severe mental illness, gender dysmorphia. You have a weird image about yourself. And what's odd about society, we're trying to force everybody else to affirm their mental illness. We don't say to affirm an anorexic. An anorexic thinks they're fat, even if they weigh 90 pounds. We don't tell society to go and tell that.
Oh, yeah, you're really fat. Lose a little more weight. So
Yeah.
Or the people who, there's one for the cutters, people those kids who cut themselves off.
We don't tell schizophrenic, I hear the voices too. You're right. They are saying to kill people. So
that's a very good point. I never thought of that. Very good point.
We do not tell any other mental illness. We don't tell society to affirm it. As I was invited on your show, I did a quick search. And I don't like Google. They're left wing. They never present the other side. So I go to my DuckDuckGo. Even on DuckDuckGo's search engine, what comes up is articles saying it's a right-wing conspiracy. Only 2 of the last 5 shootings were transgender. That's a complete and utter lie to the public. Now, how psychiatrists and doctors used to manipulate the parents? They took a study that wasn't an evidence-based study. It wasn't a good study at all, but they would take that study and tell the parents, well, you better have your kid go through transition. I'll give them hormones. I'll do all this stuff, or they're going to kill yourself. It's much better to have a transgender child than a dead child. That was coercion. That was not informed consent. And now we know that whole study was debunked.
And you had a show recently in which you really, really blew the hell out of that with showing that it's almost the other way around, that the suicides occur when the kids are somehow led along that direction, do it, and now they can't go back completely.
The detransition stories are just heartbreaking. Chloe is one of the more famous
that's a great interview.
detransitioners. She was trying to become a man, but she's a girl, and they gave her all kinds of testosterone. Forever, her jaw is changed. Her voice is changed. She may never have children. Yeah. She had her breasts removed at 15 years old. And we hear that repeatedly. And you love statistics, Mayor Giuliani. Did you know that it's a high percentage. Almost 90% of kids who have gender dysmorphia literally grow out of it by the time they're young adults and they don't have
What
those
the percentage
same feelings.
was?
Almost 90%.
Yeah. And this is accepted rather widely in Europe.
Yes.
And we reject it. Not we, but the large segment of the medical establishment rejects it. Is it money? Are we much more greedy? And you make 400,000
the
on anything?
hospitals wanted money, so they went around it. It is an odd ideology that in itself, I think, is a warped ideology. We still have a pediatric association believing in it. Believing.
Do they believe it really?
I don't know. We're hurting these kids who may be just gay. They may be gay.
Right.
Yeah. And they're hurting. Our bodies were meant for the hormones we were born with. I shouldn't give you my hormones. You shouldn't give me your hormones, or we mess with God's creation. And we're not meant to, I can't handle the things that run through your body. And you shouldn't have the things that run through my body. But it's very shameful. And all the politicians who said trans rights, Waltz, he loves this. Everybody can be in Minnesota transgender.
I don't want to go off on it, but I have Waltz figured out. So I take him out of it. He's a communist.
Yeah.
And he wants to destroy us. And this was a beautiful opportunity for communists. This fits right into Marx's numerous chapters on destroying our morality. Destroy any code of morality.
Yeah.
Basically, very simple. Because Marx knew the Bible and the Old Testament and New Testament. It creates Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Marx even thought of himself as saying it. So there is a biblical aspect to this. But
so it's Robert Westman who shot up the Annunciation Church.
And Roberta and also
Leslie.
Roberta something too. Robert and then Roberta something.
Well, that's the most recent one in Rhode Island.
I see.
Yeah.
So it's changing though, but very slowly. It's changed. The American Association of Plastic Surgeons put out a report. You had that on your show also, I remember.
Yeah.
You can see I follow her show, particularly for the medical stuff. Although she's very good on the politics too. But
I'm just an average Joe.
Oh yeah. Used to be like Sam Irvin used to say, "I'm just a country lawyer." Was it Sam Irvin? It was somebody would ask a question. One of those senators.
Like kind of Bill Clinton.
Yeah. Look, if you're running for president in 2028 and you want to know New Hampshire,
I think it was.
This is your person. You got to know Dr. Maria.
It was somebody else. He was kind of rumply looking, and he had a vest on, and he used to sit like that. He was kind of chubby.
I know who you're talking about.
Just a country lawyer. I can't keep up with your New York and Philadelphia lawyers.
Oh my God,
but it seems to me that you just missed that document completely. Is it because the document proves that you're a murderer?
Those Southern lawyers.
You know what? You sound like I'm the judge on My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, and you know who played him kind of fictitiously, advising consent. Seb Cooley, senator from South Carolina, was played by, gosh, I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, we'll find out. You find out who Seb Cooley was.
Oh,
that's okay. Now we're going to see.
That's still right.
Yeah, we're not.
We're still.
Dr. Maria is going to take over for a second. Will I?
Dr. Maria's going to take over. Okay, Dr. Maria, take over.
Mayor Giuliani.
Oh, now I'm going to get interviewed.
This whole thing with transgenderism, accepting it. Number one, I don't really believe in it. I believe in the mental illness of dysmorphia, but there is such a thing called cross-dressing that's gone back almost to the beginning of time, of human nature.
How does that?
An adult man, because an adult man, there was a.
But how does that figure into this?
Because, just hear me out. So cross-dressing is just when you're a woman and you like to dress like a man, but you still know
vice
you're a
ver- or
woman.
vice
Or
versa.
vice versa. There was a doctor in Massachusetts who was a cross-dresser, although he did murder his wife. Bad guy. But he always identified as a man. So that doesn't hurt anybody, right? That doesn't hurt anybody to allow somebody or ignore the person, whatever, to cross dress.
Yeah.
But to take a kid, and to me, this is anybody under the age of 21. I used to think, well, it should be against the law to 18. We're not as mature as we used to be. It used to be people
That's
were
a good
getting
point.
married at 14, 16, 18 years old, right out of high school. You have children, you run a household. Kids are staying at home much longer. They don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't have the mental capacity to make a life-altering decision like having transgender surgery or even taking hormones. So I think the age should go up to 21, 25. And I bet you if we change that age limit, there'll be less people. There'll be so few people
they've done
trying
it
to
in
request.
England.
Mhm.
England, they got it to 19. They wanted to go to 26.
Yeah.
But they might have sacrificed doing it at all if they didn't do the 19.
Yeah.
The American Association of Plastic Surgeons just recommended something like that, but I can't remember if it was 19 or 26. But they said,
19.
but basically, it's banned completely.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the doctor says, doesn't matter what the kid says, doesn't matter what the parents say. Now, you go to the other side, you go to the capital of mutilation of children, Minnesota.
Mm.
And that maniac who has no regard for human life will allow, I think it's from 14 on, to come there as a runaway and say, I want my penis taken off. And if he can convince the left-wing crazy doctors that they can make 400 grand by doing it, they don't have to tell the parents.
So you mentioned
Whatever
something-
happened to the parents being responsible
Yeah.
for the kid?
But you also mentioned something a few minutes ago that for some, it may be about money, perhaps the hospital or the doctor. But for some, it's a Marxist thing to corrupt society, right? They want us to
100%.
implode
You're right on.
from
Wow, you're right on target,
within.
doctor.
So they're tearing away at the fabric of right and wrong, and they're trying to blur the lines between man and woman because they don't want us to reproduce. They don't want, and I'm telling you, all these transitioners or detransitioners, they are now sterile. They will never have a child.
It's a terrible thing. And it also, I know, in a certain way, I'm not sure of. I am sure of what you just said. You're perfectly on point there. But I wonder if this is also part of trying to reduce population and just stop having children. Maybe they want the human race to end. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or they want it small enough so they can take us over.
Well, remember Bill Gates? He and others
Well, when I
kept
first-
saying
that-
we
that-
had
that-
to get rid of how many people? And he was going to do it through these manipulated seeds and farmland that he was buying up.
The minute I
Why do we have so many women that need infertility? We never have seen the likes of this before. Is it the vaccines that they're giving us? Is it the food? There is something terribly wrong with the rates of infertility.
Is that true?
we
I mean,
have. Amen. Absolutely.
it does seem just in our own personal lives.
Mm.
If I sat down and you sat down or he sat down, I bet we could come up with a lot of situations of friends that we hear.
Yeah.
I'm older than you guys, but I can go back and remember. Some really difficult situations.
Mm.
In my parents' day, that would be solved with adoption.
Yeah.
My parents were 6 months to a year away from adopting because they had tried for 7 years to have me.
Oh.
And they had a
a
miscarriage.
miracle.
She had a miscarriage.
Mm.
My mom did. And the miscarriage did further damage. And her doctor actually told her, Mm-mm, not going to happen. He said, there's only one chance, and we'll take you off all treatment and just give up on it and start thinking about adoption. Because sometimes we don't understand it, but if you relax, and then a year and a half later, she got pregnant. Now, she would preach that to all of her nieces and nephews, and we've had 2 in our family where that happened. They were getting treatment, went along for 4 years, couldn't have the baby. In one case, they wanted to adopt it. A year later, she got pregnant. So I've always believed my mom had something there about just don't push so hard and relax.
The stress of it.
But of course, we all, you and I know, grew up, and all of us did in a certain way, with this tremendous respect for human life. It's not for us to tinker with. It comes from the Creator. What the hell do we know compared to Him?
More strongly, and you've heard me talk much about the beginning of life. So not only do I believe in God and the sanctity of life, with my science mind, I know that life begins at conception, because what we see is almost immediately when the sperm gets in that egg and the egg closes off, it starts changing almost immediately. The DNA in that one cell now is dividing, blastocyst. It's not about becoming a cow. It's not about becoming a cyst. It's about becoming a baby. So that's my scientific.
Well, doctor, before
belief.
I let you off, I'm going to make a religious observation, kind of religious observation.
Okay.
They're all committing the original sin. And until we reverse it, I don't think we straighten ourselves out. Until we get back that respect for life that God demands of us.
Yeah,
so the original sin was God let Adam and Eve have anything they wanted, but to eat from the tree of knowledge. And the knowledge was the same knowledge God had, because they're not God. And they shouldn't presume to be God. And what did Eve do? Eve got tempted by the devil, by the serpent. He said, you could be just as smart as God. God isn't the smartest. He just likes to put you down that way. And she ate from the tree of knowledge. And she got Adam to do the same thing. And God banned them from the Garden of Paradise, afflicted them with original sin. And there's something very, very philosophical and something very dramatic about the original sin being that you believe you're smarter than God. Or we go to Greek philosophy that begins on people who believe they know everything are the most ignorant people in the world. And you've got to begin your quest. It's like with Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. You have to begin your quest with, I don't know everything, and I need your help.
Yeah.
Meaning, in this case, your help in educating my intellect. The minute you start to think you know everything, you think you're God. Now, the beautiful analysis of this was Karl Marx, but he came to the wrong conclusion.
Yes.
He came to the conclusion that he was God.
You're right.
He even thought he was Satan for a while. And this is, and isn't this, you can see this in a lot of our political problems, these pompous politicians who think they know everything and they can, and
what did Ronald Reagan said? The worst saying is, I'm here from the government and I'm here to help you.
Yeah, and I know
you
better.
Should run.
Yeah.
And I know, yeah.
And I know better. The government knows better. Of course, the government doesn't know better. Well, doctor, you do a great job combating that. Your show, you are missing probably one of the most unusual shows online. Don't laugh like it's not like it's something wrong with it. Unusual it's profound, but in a way that you'll understand and find accessible. She has a remarkable gift for explaining things simply. And then when you finish the show and you think about it at night, it's much more profound than you realize. And it opens up a lot of thinking. And she knows that because I'll call her sometimes the next day after I've thought about it, confused about what she said, and then she straightens it out for me. This is a remarkable and very, very good
May I be so
woman.
bold, Mayor, and fix your flag? And I look forward. I'm going to join your Bible study with Theodore tonight.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't think there's a better book to study. And in the book, in the first chapter of Genesis, God answers this real simple. Man and woman, I created them. He just says it twice. And I created them, man and woman. He didn't say man, woman, and furry. He didn't say man, woman, and pussycat so that they go bring kitty litter into school for the kid. Now, the teacher who does that, I think, needs treatment.
Oh,
I mean, if some kid, if I were a teacher, if this kid came up to me,
we lost an entire generation.
This kid came up to me and said, meow, meow, I think I'm a cat. I'd say, hey, you're kidding. And if the kid was serious, I'd say, oh my goodness, I got to get a doctor. I'm not going to let this kid go home like thinking she's a cat. Well, thank you very much, doctor.
You're
Please.
very welcome.
She's on.
Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern on
Lindell TV.
And then afterwards, like a podcast, because it's a lot, it becomes like a podcast.
Yes, it stays
You
up
can go
on
back.
Lindell
Like these
TV.
shows that I'm talking about, maybe I'll find a couple and suggest them. I'm going to suggest we'll do it tomorrow. I'm going to suggest one or two prior ones. Not that they're not all good, but that are particularly good. You go ahead and we're going to discuss some of them because she brings up subjects. She gets a little more profound than we do. And she does another thing at the end of her show that's quite beautiful. And we need this.
It's all about human kindness.
She tells a story, a short one, but a story of like the man who saved,
Yep.
who
Humility,
put his life
kindness,
at risk.
giving of yourself.
And
Yes, it's a tough world. It's a lot of stressors, and just remember how good we are, and we can be good to one another.
So in addition to being administrator of a hospital for many years, and by the way, for 7 years in a row, the leading rural CEO in the United States of America, she's also a treating medical provider.
Mhm.
I mean, she's a nurse practitioner and a PhD in hospital administration. But the nurse practitioner can prescribe medicine, diagnose disease. So there's a lot of expertise she brings to this, and I find it enormously helpful. I could not have analyzed this issue, which is going to be with us for a while. And let's see if we can get on top of it. Maybe we save more lives if we do. Thank you very, very much,
Thank you
Dr.
very
Marie, and
much.
happy Ash Wednesday, if that's what you say.
Fat Tuesday. Today's Fat Tuesday. Do we have any
Where's my
punchkis?
food?
Where's the punchkis?
Where's my food?
Punchkis. You guys know punchkis?
I already had
Isn't
some
that a
Italian
Polish
food.
dish?
Yeah, but
That's
Fat
Polish?
Tuesday. But yeah, so I think it was Polish. But we'd have it in Michigan
Oh,
the Tuesday before.
Oh, I
Ash
never heard of
Wednesday.
that.
neither have I.
Didn't
We're
do
gonna
that on the
start
East
a new
Coast.
tradition.
Good.
Yeah, we should do that. I didn't know we had
Well, we're
Bible
gonna-
study.
we're gonna-
Dr. Maria I didn't know we had Bible study tonight with the mayor. I mean, I'm more nervous. I'm more nervous studying the Bible with the mayor than any priest. I gotta catch up. My goodness. Oh, you kidding me?
Well, we'll take a short break and we're going to show we're not communists after all.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action? selection.
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. This is Rudy Giuliani back here. Now, don't get off just because Dr. Maria got off. You'll make me feel bad. We have plenty more to cover. And I did want to ask Dr. Maria this, and because we got so deeply involved, I never did. There was an article. I don't know if it's a study. I'm going to go back and find it. But here was the gravamen of it. This is what they said in the article. That used to be sort of accepted wisdom that you should get married a little later in life. So when we go back to our grandparents' generation, great-grandparents, it was quite common in many of the cultures or countries that we came from to the United States, that people got married very young, maybe even in their teens, and they were betrothed very young, even younger than that. Over time, and with the addition of education as part of your maturing, so you're 18 years old, you're out of high school, you get married. Well, then all of a sudden, college gets added to that. It's a little hard to be married in college, and inhibits the college scene, and so then it became like 21. You really, and then in many cases, as you know, professions and various other enterprises required 2 or 3 years of very, very hard work to attain some kind of status. So all of a sudden, getting married at 18, 19, 20, 21 was too young. Now, there is a physiological damage here, which some people have concluded have led to some of the diseases that Dr. Maria was talking about. There's even been a suggestion that it may have something to do with autism, and I am not taking any position on that, and I frankly just don't know. But I do know that we went through a whole period of time, and I'm not sure we're out of it yet, where the thought was you get married much later. You're not mature enough. You're going to get divorced if you get married too young. And you'd see people now getting married at 26 and 27 and 28 and 29 and 30. My children were married in their 30s, right? Now, there's a great deal of swing back to getting married young. A big, big swing back. And Charlie Kirk, before he was taken from us, was a big proponent of that. Although he himself married in his 30s, right?
Right.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm liking what I'm hearing.
No, but I mean, he argued, you should get married young. You're going to be happier, and your life is going to take on a better definition. And everything you can achieve not married, as a partnership, you can achieve married. I'm not saying
That's the idea.
I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm saying that's an argument.
Yeah.
And
I like that argument, though.
And a way to look at it. Now, there has been an attempt.
Where are you going with this?
No, it's not a joke. It's very serious.
Yeah.
There is an attempt to try to study this.
Okay.
And this was done. I don't know him. Ted, maybe you do.
These findings.
Brad Wilcox at Compact.
Do not know.
I'll read you what he concluded and what he said. The pursuit of early marriage is supported by a growing chorus of voices on the right.
Yep.
Including the late Charlie Kirk, who gave voice to the case for young marriage more prominently and insistently than anyone else, observes Brad Wilcox at Compact. Yes, this was in the New York Post. The path to living a meaningful and fulfilling life is far more likely to run through marriage and family than it is through money and work. Basically saying marriage and family makes you happier than just acquiring a great deal of money and having a really interesting job. That's what it says. It flies in the face of what has become conventional wisdom. I added what has become conventional wisdom because it used to be like that, but for a different reason. But it used to be like you got married very young. And then it was thought of, and even when we changed it, it was thought that that was probably the opportune time physically to have children and avoid any of the problems, even if they're remote. But it does fly in the face of conventional wisdom to get married at, I guess, in a place like, I think you get married at 17 without your parents' permission, if I'm not mistaken. But check on it before you do it, because I'm not absolutely sure. But you can, in many places, get married at 17, maybe even 16, with your parents' permission. Polls show that the happiest young women today are not footloose and fancy-free. They are married moms. Similarly, young married men with children are almost 3 times as likely to be very happy in comparison to their single friends. Wow. And he concludes, marrying young maximizes your odds of forging a meaningful life as a young adult. Now, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know that I disagree with that.
Right, I don't know.
But I think it's a very provocative suggestion and worthy of a good deal of consideration. And I would like to see these I do like it when they do an article like this, and maybe this is, being on the law review, being a lawyer, writing briefs and reports. I'd like to see the footnotes. I'm going to try to find them so we can find out, is there anything more on this? And are there studies that contradict it or elucidate it and draw it out? It's very interesting. Very, very. And when you look at, here's what really drew me to this. When you look at all of the disturbed young people, when you see and I'm thinking of the demonstrations, right? Or I always think of Ted's great interview when he interviewed the 2 girls from Fordham who had no idea at all why they were at the rally. I didn't know why they were there. Nice girls. My father would have looked at them and said, they should be getting married. They should be getting.
What brings you out tonight?
I'm here to support the NYU students protesting for Palestine.
Are you an NYU student?
I just want to give him a second of it. I don't want to.
Yeah, no. But Ted, she was a nice girl.
Right. That's what I wanted to show.
You probably felt bad. You didn't do it on purpose. You could have made a fool out of her.
Yeah, I did. I did kind of feel bad.
I wonder how much.
We didn't use her name.
I know, but I wonder. But
someone saw that because that went viral. Elon Musk retweeted that.
How many people? But how many people did that get?
Millions.
Yeah, I know. Way beyond. Like originally, we hit about 4, 5, 6. I remember.
Yeah,
but then it went up into the 20s and 30s.
Yeah, like I'll find out. I'll find it.
Somebody must have picked that up for her. Yeah, I can't imagine.
Oh, Fox, a bunch of people.
But her living in that world,
someone
she has to be aware of.
Someone sent it to her. Yes.
And and I don't know. I imagine you don't listen to us, but if you do, or someone on our behalf talks about it, we didn't mean at all to victimize you in any way.
Yeah.
Which is why we didn't
We're
use your
proving a
name.
point, yeah.
We didn't use your name or your.
We didn't want to shame you that much.
And we understand what we
you're a
understand.
product. She is a product or a consequence of
you seem like a very smart, engaging. You seem like a really sweet girl. I described you. Oh, don't be insulted. As the quintessential pretty girl next door.
Right.
I mean, she's a very attractive girl. President Trump has announced that he's going to seek the death penalty if Nancy Guthrie is not returned alive. Now, people get a little. They have to criticize everything he does.
Yeah, right.
Everything he does.
Right. Oh gosh, what now?
This means they're not going to return. Well, that's ridiculous. If the lady is dead, the lady is dead. This only works if the lady's alive. It only works if the lady's alive. So
it's their only shot at
don't you think, you dumb
people?
Dumb. It's the night before Ash Wednesday. One of my other little vows is to be kinder and gentler. You can still be critical without having to go to the max all the time. Okay. Now, there was a panel discussion that I'd sure like to reproduce. I would like to reproduce it and be part of it. Now, the panel discussion took place, I believe, last week, but it was reported on today or yesterday. And reported on by various different reporters, not just one, but the best one was by the really uniformly excellent Daniel McCarthy.
Nice.
Who writes for the Post now and again, a lot. But he's a professor and a teacher and a really thoughtful guy. And here, let me set up this panel for you because it's important and it's getting to be even more important. It was at the Center for the National Interest, and it was a panel that was under the auspices of Georgetown University's Center for Securities Studies. Now, Georgetown University, as you know, is in Washington, D.C. As a result of that, Georgetown has really developed for itself something that would be appropriate. They probably have one of the best foreign policy schools in the country, equal of the Ivy League schools. Oh, and by the way, as expensive. So you're not getting a break. And have educated a fair number of our career diplomats. Georgetown has Harvard, Georgetown, Yale. That's Columbia. But in some ways, Georgetown, I don't know if it's the best, but it's right up there. And of course, it got an extra boost when Clinton became president because he was from Georgetown. But in any event, they had this wonderful panel discussion. It was about the future of Iran, which is, quite a subject. And they had their very, very good people who have deep knowledge of what can happen in Iran, and are, by doing this, setting sort of parameters that can be followed in taking this country into a much more sensible and meaningful transition than Iraq went through. It's already way beyond that. So this discussion was, how are they going to stand up a government here? This failed us in Iraq. It failed us in Afghanistan. And gosh, we just don't know. We just don't know how to do nation building, and we're terrible at it. And I just get so angry at this. And I really would like to call Daniel because I don't see that in this article. Now, maybe they covered it in the discussion, but before Iraq, we had to be the best nation builders since Julius Caesar. We dropped 2 atomic weapons on Japan, and by 3 years later, they were our best friend. I've been in Japan. They love Americans. Gosh, I wish we were loved all over the world the way we're loved in Japan. Well, that was Douglas R. MacArthur. And yes, it was his special skills. But we didn't do too bad in Italy or Germany either, and we didn't have Douglas R. MacArthur. We had a system. And we failed to follow it with Bremer and the people in Iraq after the war. And so this gets them around to the question, if America were to aid in the overthrow of the Ayatollah's government, which we may very well do, right?
Right.
And if it's done right, where it is that we give some aid, but they do it, you immediately have some very big distinctions with Iraq. First of all, Iraq was a imposed revolution. I'm not saying it didn't have a fair amount, if not a lot of popular support. People wanted to get rid of him. But you'll never know how much because it was imposed on them. We did it. And the coalition forces overthrew the government of Saddam Hussein. The Iraqis didn't rise up in rebellion like we're going to celebrate, on this 4th of July. Well, right now, it is quite obvious that they are rising up in rebellion without a great deal of stimulation from abroad. And that immediately begins a different emotion. And I don't mean emotion singular, I mean national emotion. Now, instead of getting them there to want to do that, they're there. And now you have to assist in a gentle way in managing it. And I say gentle way in managing it. To me, not this, but understanding. Start with, you got to make sure as much of the regular course of conduct the people follow gets followed and respected. You cannot remove everyone who was involved with the Nazis. I know you want to, but you can't. You got to make a distinction. Who are the leaders in the real sense? And who are the followers? It's easy to find the followers that are all down here, and the leaders, but it's the ones in the middle. Hey, and by the way, they're the most important ones. They're the ones who guide the railroad. They're the ones who guide the soup kitchens, if there are soup kitchens. They're the ones who run the universities and keep the schools going. Because the day after the Ayatollah is overthrown, the country is going to be in turmoil. But you want it to be in the least amount of turmoil possible, which is what MacArthur and what our peacekeepers and transitioners did for us in Italy, Japan, and Germany, and created 3 great friends of the United States. That can be done again. And there are people through the MEK, Mushadin al-Khalq, but under a much wider umbrella with 26, 27 groups known as the National Council to the Resistance of Iran. It's been in existence 40 years. And for 40 years, they have people as knowledgeable as they possibly can be, ready, willing, and able to go in if the darn thing is overthrown on Tuesday, to come in on Wednesday and make sure that somebody can get to work as much as possible. And I'm sure there'll have to be trial and error, and people will have to get moved a bit, but this is a heck of a lot better than we saw in Iran. So the question comes up in this conference, and a gentleman, his name, and I'm going to make sure I pronounce it correctly, because the premise of this discussion was, can the Trump administration do in Iran what it pulled off in Venezuela last week? And they had on the panel Alex Vatanka, a Middle East senior fellow, and Sina Azodi, who is the director of Middle East Studies at George Washington University. So from a competing university 5 miles away. About 5 miles away. And Jacob Heilbrunn, the editor of the National Interest magazine. Vatanka, this is the gentleman who is a Middle East Institute fellow, had no doubt about one thing, and that was that the 86-year-old reign of terror, and I like that. I use that. I've been using that term since I started making speeches with the MEK 12 years ago, reign of terror, that it's coming to an end. And hard questions, how bloodily does it end? How much resource, how much damage, the whole thing. But Vatanka, on this point, sees a role for Reza Pahlavi, the son of the deposed Shah, in driving the now senile revolutionary Islamic regime out of power. And the question is, will that happen? And is that a good thing? So his argument is 70% of the Iranians, which have to be a young country, came to power after the harsh treatment, which maybe is a little too weak to really convey what's left behind there. But okay, let's go with that. The harsh treatment of the monarchy's own brutalities. It's a thing of the past, and they didn't personally live through it. So their anger, hatred, or whatever that you might think, isn't what it might be if they were still alive, it was still them. And therefore, do you want to attribute the sins of the father on the son? And it may be that they don't hold this resentment and that he'd be the perfect choice. And everyone already knows his name, so for good or bad, name recognition in this situation is really important. However, the panel's other principal speaker was very opposed to this. Right. This was Sina Azodi. Now, this is very interesting. And we'd love to get him on the show, Ted.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we have to do? Do we have to go to Georgetown and protest?
No, let's get his email. We'll shoot him an email.
Can we, instead of a little cup, ask for contributions? And he comes up and we'll say, Sina, we need you. We need you for the show. It doesn't have to be me. I love doing costumes, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could show up like a poor little old man and say, Sina, if you come on the show, I'll get paid otherwise.
I'm looking to see here. Yeah.
Well, here's what Sina said, and here you'll see why. And if we get the other guy on too, it'd be great. Woo. So Sina Azodi used to be a Pahlavi supporter, but he now feels the exiled heir to the Shah is surrounded by untrustworthy people, more interested in revenge than orderly transition. While Pahlavi wants a reimposition from the bottom and not he wants a reimposition from the top and not revolution from the bottom. He's not a unifying factor, Professor Azoldi concludes. And he goes on to then lay out the horrible incidents in the minds and hearts of the Iranian people that are part of the history of Iran, about how until the Ayatollah came along, it couldn't have been much worse than the Shah. He built the event prison, which is the one they're using right now. He developed the Savak, which was a secret police that he used in very similar ways to the Revolutionary Guard, who may really be their successors. Very strangely and improperly, the Shah's son, who we have no reason to believe would be like the Shah. The Shah was a brutal murderer and a massive thief. I don't know that the son's that. I'm not going to assume that. But I am going to assume, unfortunately and tragically, in a situation like this, where people have been tortured and killed, and 120,000 at least have put their lives on the line, they're not going to give you, they're not going to give you, if you are the product of that stolen wealth, they're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt. There's too much at stake for them. And I also think, once again, the reporting on this is like, we face so much now in our age. It's extraordinarily deceiving. And sometimes the extraordinarily deceiving reporting, it doesn't, of course it always matters, but it doesn't really matter. It passes away in the wind, you know. Ooh. But here it does matter. Because we could make a critical error. The president and his administration could be convinced by a lot of people who want to see him in. Everything's fine. They have created like a reality that's completely untrue, which is that the people rose up when he asked them to do it. He knew they were going to rise up, and then he asked them to do it. Oh, damn things were organized for weeks. There was a schedule already out.
Right.
2 weeks ago. None of them report that. Maria Bartiromo, my goodness, Maria, what's happened to you? You had him on the show. You had Reza Pahlavi on the show. My goodness, dear, he's an empty suit. You made him sound intelligent because you never challenged him. You didn't ask him, for example, why did you volunteer to fight to maintain the regime of terror? Why did you get yourself crowned a monarch? How many of the people are around you that stole a fortune? And did you ever have a job? And we get a couple of references from that job that you do things like work. And haven't you lived the life of a European jet-setting bum? Meaning you don't work. And you got a lot of money, and we know where it comes from, and don't bullshit me. You took that from the Iranian people. And they're starving, right? Everything, giving it back to them. And who's around you, pal? Azad says they're untrustworthy. Well, the same crooks that raped Iran on the way out. Maybe their sons and daughters can carry it out. Now, maybe a lot of that's not true. And maybe a lot of that is exaggeration. What I just described to you, I can tell you on very good authority, is what's going on in the minds of the Iranian people. Discovered a few weeks ago was a plot with the regime to create false Pahlavi posts to make it look like he has much broader support on Twitter, on Facebook, on blah, 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 than he does. by setting up bots done by the regime. Why? Because distributed correctly in the parts of Iran where the most opposition to the Pahlavi family would exist, it discourages them to be part of the revolution. Now, you should also know, because none of these people, Maria Bartiromo, the Fox people who are kissing his backside as if the Murdochs are going to get a big piece of this or something. Oh, that couldn't be possible. And they don't ask the obvious questions that a reporter would ask. Who are you going to put in? Who's going to help you? Do you have a team? How long have you been working on this? Yeah, 3 days when I saw the money. That's how long he's been working on it. Have you ever shown up at any of the rallies where there are scores of people who were almost murdered and you weren't there? You were sitting in your, $20 or $30 million palatial surroundings purchased from the blood and tears and taken from the people you now want to be their monarch? And who the hell ever went back to monarchy except during the French Revolution, and they kept chopping their heads off? Every single thing I'm asking you, everything I'm suggesting to you, I'm not saying it's the absolute truth. I'm saying it's corrupt as a reporter if you don't ask it. I mean, these things on Fox were like paid infomercials. And these are reporters, and they're good reporters. And they know those questions. How ridiculous is it? You have a revolution to overthrow a dictator. 120,000 plus people get killed. And you bring back a king that you threw out earlier. And they don't make the distinction. And he's not making the distinction very clear. He's like a Democrat running for office. He's on every side of every issue. He said that he wants to be the king. He says that he wants to be the prince. He says he wants to be the limited constitutional monarch, and he says there should be no monarchy. Oh, I don't know. And probably a couple of other things. I think
right.
And there's nothing that suggests he isn't anything but a fluffy old lightweight. In large part because nobody ever challenges him. His Highness. So I am raising this, and you may think we're putting the cart before the horse here, and to a certain degree we are. But I think we've learned from these revolutions and overthrows, and I'm quite confident this is going to happen, this overthrow. But I also don't want to commit, the sin we were talking about earlier of hubris that led to the original sin. Everything I say, I can be completely wrong because we don't know. And everything they say could be completely wrong. So we're just operating on what might likely and logically happen. And this is a dangerous path for us. And I hope the decision makers in the State Department, even before we get to the president, have the sensitivity to at least realize that in the minds of many Iranians that are pro-American, there is a growing fear that we're going to do the same thing again that led to the complex problems we created in the past. We're going to shove our guy in, which is what we did in 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, when we put his murdering father in. Now, this guy got selected because he was the best murderer in the Cossack army. God's honest truth.
Right.
Then when they had to throw him out because the best murderer in the Cossack army started to like Hitler better than Great Britain, even though he was giving Great Britain all of his people's oil. The British Petroleum Oil Company, there's one thing clear about it. They don't have any British oil. And a lot of it is Iranian oil. And they made a deal that they get over half of it. It's not theirs. And that's why they put Pahlavi in, and Pahlavi's not a family name. They made up the name. The family name is, like Sheboygan or something.
Yeah.
And they act like the grandfather, eventually they stick him in. He's the dictator. He's the power man. He's the strong man from 19 to 24, 25. But then he needs a little something bigger. He doesn't think that maybe what he needs bigger is a little more money for his people because the British are robbing him blind with the oil. And he said, I want to be an emperor. Lucky I haven't heard that word, emperor. He wants to be the emperor. So they made him the emperor. The emperor made a very big mistake. The emperor showed his true colors that he's a fascist.
Right.
Because he loved Hitler. He and Hitler were like this. Got the British really nervous because the British were so concerned about the freedom of the Iranian people. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. The British were really concerned that they might lose a penny from British petroleum. So they cracked down on them. They got the American intelligence forces, then not quite the CIA, but the forerunners of the CIA. I think it was not quite the CIA yet. Maybe it was the beginnings of the CIA. And they said, we got to watch this very, very, very carefully because we could lose this. So they took the old man out, the killer, right?
Yeah.
Plucked him right out and sent him off and said, go F yourself. Sonny Boy, the father of this ne'er-do-well, said, don't hurt him too bad. But I never liked my father anyway. And he goes off, and a guy ill-prepared for the job takes over, described as meek, hard to make decisions, and kind of scared. So he gets about 10, 12 years, and it kind of works. Britain gets every penny they want, stealing it from the Iranian people. He gets to act like a big shit, and he and his wife at the time steal everything but the curtains and put it away in banks all over the world. He pretends to be a religious Muslim to keep the clerics happy. He pretends not to be when people are seeing him in other situations. So we got a typical dishonest, way beyond dishonest. I mean, the typical creature of 800 years of horrible history. And one thing for sure, once again, the Iranian people screwed. So this goes on for quite some time during the war. The war is over. Nobody pays attention over that. But very slowly, a constitutional democracy is emerging in Iran. The parliament, which they had for a long time, and the exact duties of which were never clearly defined, is now merging into more like England. The king, well, by this time, he had like a crowning. The king or the emperor or the sun god or whatever the hell this guy was, is getting put into like the role of a limited monarch. Not a great idea, I don't think, but it beats the genetically challenged royal families. It beats getting one of those characters on the throne, right? And he's, as I said, he's a meek guy. Others would say a coward. So he kind of lets it go along. He doesn't have the old man around to say, hey, grow a pair of balls, pal, or, fight him back or whatever. But then all of a sudden, they elect a rather dynamic, charismatic guy named Mossadegh. Mossadegh is accused by some of being a communist. Probably. Notice I'm not saying anything definitive because in this kind of history, you can't say anything definitive. It's being reported from the mouths of people who are professional liars. So you have to figure out who's lying the least. That's a hell of a way to write history, but that's the way you have to do it. So here's who's lying the least. Mossadegh takes over. Mossadegh, who tries to create a good relationship with the Shah, doesn't act precipitously. He doesn't act like to push it in his face. He makes him appear like he's the Sun King. I'm the Sun King. And by the way, the guy, was screwing everything in Eastern, Western, and Northern Europe. I mean, everybody loves a king, I guess. I don't, but I thought we fought against one and got rid of him. But so Mossadegh, who is a true believer in the rights of the people, the only way this is going to work if Iran finally gets to determine its own destiny. Was he a communist? Some say he was, and therefore had to be gotten rid of. I would say, as a much more sympathetic than you may know, to the cause of Russian infiltration and communist infiltration at that time, and willing to grant to McCarthy a good purpose and a very, very bad execution of that purpose. And also willing to definitively say that communism had infiltrated the Roosevelt and Truman administrations to the point at which it impaired our decision-making. And people lived in tyranny for generations that didn't have to happen because of the horrible inadequacy of these two administrations that were probably the first pumped up Democrat administrations where their significant flaws were not revealed. So he has to deal with that. But the Shah was only partially interested. He's interested in the big cars, the flying of planes, and beautiful women. I mean, again, he was a playboy. All of a sudden, Mossadegh. I wonder if Mossadegh had a chance to do this over again, if he'd do it differently. Maybe he couldn't. Everybody's willing to sit back and let him sort of play around, democracy, no democracy, have a little of this, have a little of that. Until Mossadegh did the big thing, the big one. He took over British petroleum. He took it out of the hands of the Brits who had been stealing from them for 5 generations, 6 generations. He said, this is our company, boys. And when he comes to the Iranian people, the British can get a portion. I don't remember what it was. And I can't even tell you if it was a fair portion or it wasn't. I would say watching how everybody acted up to this point, I'm going to guess it was a very, very generous portion because they weren't stupid. They didn't want to create an enemy with Britain. And they were not at the core, they were not communists. These were not operatives of who the hell was in charge then. Stalin, I guess, still in charge, right?
53.
Yeah, it may have been just about going out and they were in transition. Yeah. So Mossadegh takes over, takes the money away from Great Britain, and now we can say in a big headline something. We've been telling you the history of Iran like this is a history class. Let me say, if it was my history class, I would now go over to the old chalkboard and I would say, quote, simplification, but sometimes you need this. History is always about the money. Follow the money. And what I mean by that was he had been doing this on and off on smaller things. But Mossadegh said, no, we're not just taking the power away to this and the power away to that, and we're taking that back from the king, and he was doing that for a long time. He said, we're taking the blood money from Britain. Whoa. The Brits, who are very understated, went nuts. The Whigs went flying off the guys in the House of Commons. You ever see the picture? They said, you're not getting the money from British Petroleum's not getting the money. They steal from the stupid Iranians. And all of a sudden, left-wing lords, right-wing lords, and make-believe lords, the Whigs went flying up. And under it, there were all kinds of dollars and pounds. And of course, that's why they go there every day, to figure out how much they can. It isn't that bad. I like England. But this is what a colonial power does. And they kicked Mossadegh out. These are not Iranian Islamic terrorist pigs. They didn't put them in jail, and they didn't torture them, and they didn't take their fingernails off. Or they put them in nice, I don't even think of prisons. Mossadegh lived out his life in exile, but in better shape than Napoleon. But you're gone. Now they want to bring Pussy Boy back. Pussy Boy's not sure he wants to come back. Everything okay there? I mean,
right.
I mean, I ran out because it was getting a little hot. No, Mohammed, it'll be fine. Not to worry. It's very simple. You just give away your people's money and their patrimony to us, and we'll take care of you. You just double cross your people like the scoundrel you and your dad were, and we'll take care of you forever. And he did. He made the deal. Actually, I do say to his credit, he got a few more pennies out for Iran. Ooh, maybe for the Pahlavi family, we'd have to do a forensic examination to find out, is there anyone that wants to go to, what are the betting sites, Ted? Just pick one, anyone. I don't want to recommend one.
FanDuel. Well, I don't use them anymore.
Which one?
I know.
You don't have to go confess to me. It's tomorrow morning before the sun. You can confess, but not to me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But FanDuel is a big one.
FanDuel, I've never heard of. I like that one with the name.
You see the commercials.
PP. Has it PayPal? No.
Oh, Polymarket. They bet on everything. Yeah, that's like anything.
Polymarket has a very, very intellectual.
They're gonna start wagering on what tie will the mayor wear on tonight's episode of America's Mayor Live. But that's how in depth they get on trade, like the type of stuff they do. Ash Wednesday, I bet you I could get. I'm just gonna look up the colors for that. Is it purple?
But you want to get it? You want to get them? You want to advertise for them? I don't think I'd be able to do that. They bet, right?
Oh no,
they don't just predict.
We got to talk to Dr. Maria, but they did approach us before. Remember? Do you remember? And you guys were rightfully hesitant. This was like a year and a half ago. And I said,
remember. I don't like betting.
And I knew why, and I got it, but I'm like, this. Yes, we did.
I know. And I sometime we'll discuss, like in a podcast, intellectual, the pros and the cons of betting. I see both.
If you can do it healthy, if you do $10 a weekend, right? That's the problem. But you're not talking about that. Like I used to do. Well,
I'm going to tell you a story about my uncle sometime. You'll see.
Yeah. No, I told the story, but you got to.
Now, they bring the Shah back. They put him in. Everybody's kind of unhappy. This is not what they wanted. They wanted, finally, something very strange. People are not entitled to have this. A government of the people, for the people, and by the people, not by the British intellectual heirs, not by the desert family they made into a royal family that was no better than the lower middle class of Iran in the way they think. Just a big bunch of thieves. They were going to have a democracy. And it was stolen right away from them by the United States and Great Britain. And that lasted. And it fueled, ultimately, throwing the Shah out years later. So that's the history of this country. I learned as a young person, and I'll give you my own intellectual development, but I learned as a young person with the Vietnam War, which I supported until I read about it. And I was not influenced very much by the demonstrations. If anything, they probably inclined me toward the government, because a lot of the demonstrators I consider to be cheap little Neanderthals. This isn't First Amendment demonstration. They don't even know what the First Amendment is. These demonstrations, for some of them, are like a game, like the girls that you talk to who didn't know why the hell they were there, or the people who get paid for it. Do I believe in the right to demonstrate? Of course. Would I die to protect the right to demonstrate? Yes. Would I do it? I can't say no. Who knows what's going to happen? But it's something I don't think is particularly useful or productive. I'd rather spend my time reading, arguing, and trying to figure things out in good faith. But the Shah came back, and the new Shah was constantly looking over his shoulder, and he started all of the horrible things, and he took his father's savagery and made it worse. He established the prison. That is a torture chamber. He started to change the whole Savak situation to, there were people that would say it was more dangerous than the secret police in Russia, than the secret police in Germany, in East Germany. And who can... They don't keep statistics, so how the hell do you know who's the most dangerous? They sure killed their share of people and tortured their share of people. And that's how we get to where we are today. We're going to have a chance to affect all this.
Absolutely.
But you know something? We have to know what we're doing. We can't be fooled. We can't have information taken from us.
Right.
We can't have people who are looking to make billions of dollars thwarting our decisions and compromising them. And we're going to try really hard. We're going to try really hard to help get this one right. And I'm going to tell you, I'd do it if it was any group of people. Human beings are entitled to this. They're entitled to freedom. They're entitled to choose their own government. And these people are exceptionally smart, enterprising, respectful, and decent people. Not the hoodlums running around in the streets. You don't see the ones that are like that. We do this right. This is going to work. Right. This could be the greatest thing Donald J. Trump does as president. He may create for us the number 2 powerhouse in the Middle East. And that helps bring it to the Middle East to really be stable. Can't be dominated by Israel or the U.S. or Israel, the U.S., and even Iran, if they turn out to be that good an ally. They have to be persuaded to become fully human and part of the 21st century, which means to cast off the burden of a good deal of Islam and keep it as something you study, like we study, the Constitution of Athens. We're not going to enact it. But it's not for now. It's not for today. We're way beyond that. And the full group of the Greek people would have been far better than. So let's see what happens. Do you realize that these are very difficult times? I know you feel the tension of it. The reports that you see, the studies that are taken, the things that are done all show that. But these are not my original words. Gosh, I wish they were. I'd feel like I was really smart if they were. And it's going to tell what kind of person you are. Is it better to live in nice, quiet times and you can just enjoy the roses and the sea and your grandchildren and then fine. Nice, nothing happens. Or do you want to live in times of massive turmoil and meaningful change? Oh, I think there are people that would say the first, Ted.
Yeah.
But you and I sure like the second.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're watching the show.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, 867 nights.
So Guthrie case, let's see what happens. Nothing new in the Guthrie case, right?
It's terrible.
I will give one last piece of wisdom from my law enforcement background. I think the Walmart backpack, which has come along late, which is another whole question about how this was screwed up, that's come along late, is a much more powerful piece of evidence than some of the others that they have gotten all excited about. And I'll tell you why. If they're correct, you can figure out who bought it by the markings on the back and the receipt that was left. Now, that gives you about a 65% chance of, if you match them, finding out who was carrying that thing when we see that crazy video. I say 65% because it is possible that someone wrote over it, and that name is not the name that actually bought the backpack, but it's some name that was on a copy that wrote over it, and you can't quite make it out. Now, it is possible you can make out both of them if that's the case. A reason I say that is this has happened in some situations. You have a there's going to be a little clearer than it would actually be, right? So there'll be things written over. Oh, you can't see this, but there'll be things written over. And you're dealing with impressions. And I've had this happen, and this is hard. There are times in which you can't tell of the three things written over which belongs with which. This is crazy. You can get a person in who understands impressions, and they'll look at it, and they'll say, well, I got it. The impression for the first one is on top because it's the lightest. The impression for the last one is clearer. You can see it right here. But the one in the middle, well, the best I can tell you about it is it was less pressure. It was less pressure than the one on top and the one on the bottom. But I can't tell you what it says yet because it's covered up by the other symbols. And as far as I know, give me one of these here. As far as I know, we do not have a science that can do this. Well, I have to use the same color to do that. We don't have a science that can do this. Now, I wrote 3 different numbers here. Here's what you can't do. A really, really good interpreter, whatever you call the right name for this.
Scribe.
Hagiography, something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're
So,
talking about.
yeah. Okay, so a really good guy, you know what he can do? What he'll be able to do? He'll be able to get all those letters and things out and those numbers out. He'll have a whole big list of them. I can see a couple, 1, 2,
Like potential.
3, 5, 1 5 on this side. Here, I see I know my own writing, so it's a little bit easier. I see a 1, I see a 14, I see a 4, another 4, I see another 4, and I see another 4. Oh, and I have a 1 in here. Okay. He can do that. Now, if the paper is the usual quality of food store or department store or grocery store paper, it isn't thick enough to pick up which belongs with which. Now, make it a little easier. If you take it over to very fine stationery, you'll be able to do this much more easily because you'll find the 1.2.54 that was first embossed on the paper. And you'll be able to separate it with a microscope or even just possibly a magnifying glass. You'll be able to separate it because you'll see the different bumps from the second one and from the third one, maybe. But I doubt that this is fine stationery. So as we come down from fine stationery, this becomes more and more confusing. And these are the kinds of notes they're dealing with. So I'm going to conclude this part of the show, and most of the show, just a couple of wrap-ups we'll do at the end here. But I'm going to conclude this part of the show by telling you that the tragedy here is what I just described to you. If you want to get advantage of modern technology and modern improvements, requires a phenomenal amount of cooperation between the guys picking it up on the ground and the guys doing the analysis. You can't have a breakdown there because they're all going to contribute something. They're going to say, oh, look, I saw that. Oh, look, I saw that. Oh, my goodness. Do you know, I went through the other night all of her correspondence. I think I can pick out her writing, if any of this is her writing. Now, if the cops are here and the FBI are here, that synergy never happens. I don't know how to emphasize to you, and I don't want to harm this man, but I still think there's a chance. I still think there's a chance to solve this case, although I don't know what I mean by solve the case.
That's just
This is way over his head. That's a hard thing to admit. Been a sheriff ever who runs around like he's a big shot and fires people like crazy, apparently.
Oh,
Maybe that's not true. Maybe that's a rumor, but that's what they say, right?
yeah. When there's that much being said,
It requires quite a man. And that I guess I have to very harshly say he doesn't live up to. Just step aside and say there are people better equipped to do this than I am. They can meld the science and the police work much better so that one doesn't get in the way of the necessary requirements of the other. Now, he did that in a way that was extraordinarily amateurish by destroying some of the crime scene. that's not even thinkable. It's still not too late. We don't know if it's too late. It may be too late, but it's still not too late from the point of view of the way we have to deal with this. So I don't know, Ted, if we live in an era in which the FBI could have done what I would have done back in the 80s when I worked with the FBI and often exerted their power for them, or in
What
the
would you have done? What do you-
or in the early 80s when I handled the Hinckley case and threw the Capitol Police Department out.
Hinckley,
But
the
I don't
gentleman who
know-
shot Reagan.
Yeah, I don't know that you can do that anymore. So
Do
I may
what?
I may be
Take over?
comparing apples and oranges. Yeah, telling the Metropolitan Police if you don't release Hinckley after I asked him nicely 3 times with a warrant, if you don't release him, gee, maybe we shouldn't have done this, because I used to watch Columbo then, and I tried to like act like Columbo. I was a kid, sort of. So I said, I don't know about this, but the Attorney General said that we're going to take him to the Marine Corps base here in D.C. You know, the one where you come, Sheriff, and you watch the things on Friday when we changed the guard. I remember meeting you there.
Eighth and Ninth, South.
You remember meeting me there? He said, no, I don't remember meeting that kid. Oh, great. I said, well, I tell you what, we got about 200 of them outside right now. Look out the window. What are they doing there? I said, well, they're here to get Hinckley. So let me put it to you this way, Sheriff, and I know you think I'm a dumb kid, but this comes from the president's, the acting president, George Bush. I got to have that guy from you in 15 minutes. He better be in great shape. He better say really nice things about you and the way you treated him. And 5 marshals are going to come in right now. That's all we should need. We're all on the same side. But outside, I don't know if you realize that there are 130 Marines. And they're going to come in and rip them from you if you don't do it. He said, you are one crazy fucking kid. I said, I've been called that before.
Yeah.
He never talked to me again. We met at things. And
Well, the unfortunate part in these situations, Mayor, and you obviously are a shining example
But
of this. You don't know until a situation arises how a person's going to handle themselves in a moment of extreme. And this is a crisis to the Guthrie family, but this pales in comparison to obviously a mass tragedy.
I feel very bad for them.
Event.
You'd think, I know they're getting hit on both sides. They're getting hit on the side. Oh, they're getting special treatment. They're getting special treatment. Somehow I have a very hard time believing that an investigation headed by this guy is special treatment.
Right. That's a very good point. I don't even want to laugh at it because
I mean,
you're right.
I think if they, by that luck of the draw, ended up in about 3/4 of any other in America,
Maybe
number one, they would have gotten a better investigator, and number two, they would have gotten a more deferential one when he didn't know what he didn't know.
FBI, get the FBI there right away.
Look, we beg for the FBI sometimes.
And by the way, he looks, no matter what, if the FBI comes in and handles it, he still gets to be the hero. He's still the sheriff, right? I mean, it sounds like people are saying part of it is him wanting to be, control the thing and end up as the hero. You're the sheriff. You're taking the press conferences. I'm sure the FBI would allow that to continue. Oh, that's it. Oh, the mic. Okay. Can't get enough of it.
This is the goddamn killer.
My dad used to complain about
That was a judge, right?
Yeah, the media and the microphones, like having cameras in the courtroom and stuff, those judge shows. He didn't like those judge shows because then I don't know how you felt about that, but sometimes clients they'd feel like it was like the TV shows, right? When they'd come into court. He didn't like the cameras. I like the cameras. He doesn't like cameras in court.
I think I would love to
you got to get him down here.
I would love to moderate a debate between you and your father on that, because I'm going to tell you the truth. There's no right answer to that.
Okay.
There's no right answer to that. it almost depends on it depends on the responsibility and the professionalism of the people that you're putting on TV.
Yes.
So if you have a good judge and good lawyers and high level people, they're gonna handle it right, and they're gonna handle it what it's meant for. If you've got a bunch of shysters and jerks and political crooks, and they'll do what they always do, they'll handle it like.
How did you feel about cameras in the courtroom when you were the U.S. attorney? And was that a big thing back then?
Yeah. Cameras in the courtroom were a big thing. Wow. Before I was even U.S. attorney.
But you were using media to your
first
advantage.
of all, before I got involved with cameras in the courtroom on a government side, I got involved in it on the press side.
Really?
It was one of our little units that we had at Patterson Belknap. We would represent the New York Post. We would represent. I'm sorry, the Daily News. The Daily News. We would also represent the New York Post and the Wall Street Journal on access cases, where the judge would not allow us access to the courtroom because the law in New York, not in the federal court, but in the state court, it was up to the trial judge. Okay. The New York Court of Appeals, which is the highest court in New York, had placed some limits on what you could do, but allowed the judge to make the discretionary decision to allow televisions. So the judge would have a hearing on it.
Yeah.
And we would represent the newspapers. Yeah. So we'd be arguing for open court, which means you argue all the First Amendment cases, all the cases that say,
public interest.
This is how you have a democracy. Yeah. This is how you have a well-informed public.
See, that'd be the stronger argument. What's the opposing argument?
Opposing argument, you prejudice the case. Here's an opposing argument. I don't know if it gets you anywhere legally, but it's really true. A lot of the lawyers and judges started acting stupid.
Yeah, that's what
the famous one being in
that's what my dad did.
O.J. Simpson case with the Japanese judge who acted like like he was on the first reality TV show. It was really pathetic.
And would that glove thing have happened?
Yeah, it was pathetic. It was pathetic. And other judges handled it beautifully.
Right.
But
well, even with the Trump cases, those judges loved having the camera on them, right? With the former president and before that.
They don't all do. As you say, your father didn't like it, right?
Did not.
Yeah. I met a lot of judges I know didn't like it.
Yeah.
And a lot of judges I know, when they had it, they interpreted it as narrowly as possible. I think it's good, for example, they had to do this because of the mafia cases. You can't show the jury.
Oh, yeah. Is that, yeah.
You can't show the jury because if you show the jury and you don't have them locked up, the boys will show up at night and take the guy's wife away.
Would they hide the jury's faces, or is that against the?
They don't. What they don't do. I was just watching. I was watching somebody's trial. It was just. I think I was going to sleep, and they did a good job. They just take the jury out of the
jury box.
Yeah, so that the camera will never go on the jury. Yeah, the camera will never go on the jury. Of course, they have a pause, and if God forbid it does, it takes a little away from the trial. Yeah. You're not watching the trial the way you would if you were in court, because sometimes you want to watch
the jury.
You want to watch the jury. When I had the luxury of having assistants, at a trial, I would often, if I had enough, I would assign them to watch jurors for me. I couldn't do it while I'm trying the case, cross-examining. So I'd say, you can you make a decision to disregard a certain amount of the jury, but these two seem to be with me. These two seem to be against me. See what you can get out of their facial expressions.
Right.
Really not so much so we can predict the verdict, although it eventually, but what kind of appeal do we have to make? Are they sympathetic to us? Are they angry at us? When they pointed out that we failed to do something that we should do, do they go, people are people. Once they get settled into a jury situation, they're going to start acting like they normally act. They're either expressive or they're not.
Right. And you got to be a good trial lawyer. You got to be, obviously, you got to know the law and you got to be quick witted, but you got to know people and you got to know. And obviously, I don't want to call it acting, but in a way, right? Theatrics to a degree.
You have to act.
I mean, there's
like
I wish I could see you back.
I can get up. I would have to get up
on video.
I would have to get up, and there's a total, absolute, complete, horrible crook. And man, all you want to do is go right to the end and kill him. But you know that general wisdom in a cross-examination is you don't turn on the witness until the end, because unless you have to discipline him. But in a normal case, everything is the normal case with an exception.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The normal case is always start off nice, friendly.
Right.
Because you want to get everything you can get. Where do you live? Where do you come from? How long did you work there? You don't want to, at the very beginning, say, isn't it true that you said you were married to Mary Jane Smith? And here's your wedding certificate, and you were married to 2 other women at the time. You want to save that for the end. Because from then on, the guy's a prick. He doesn't like you anymore.
He's caged
and
up.
He watches everything. Now, every rule has an exception. There may be a time you want to do that at the very beginning. Just discipline him, and then you got him for the whole case. But by and large, the first is the right rule, particularly if you think you can get helpful testimony from him, where he's going to admit some of your case.
Yeah.
So I found cross-examination to be
You loved it.
the most challenging part of a trial,
Yeah.
the most difficult part of a trial, and by far, without any doubt, the most interesting part of a trial.
Yes. And getting to know you,
And it is true that it does determine a lot of trials, but not all. There are times in which a case is so overwhelming that a good cross-examination in the wrong way doesn't affect it. And there are times, but by and large, you can say it does affect it in a criminal case. And it doesn't happen a lot in a criminal case because the defendant doesn't take the witness stand generally.
Right. They're told by their lawyers.
Yeah, generally.
Not a good idea.
Generally, if the prosecutor brought the case, there's evidence.
Yeah.
Evidence could be wrong, but there's evidence. So it isn't
place.
as if he has nothing to work with. So
Right. Well, we should do some podcasts on.
we should
do a whole legal.
We haven't had a really good trial to cover in a while.
You're right. Even like the Charlie Kirk one is going slow. A lot of those are very slow.
Yeah.
But you're right.
It was unusual.
Right.
But we're gonna have to take a good look and see what we got.
And then we got the Mangione case. So yeah, I mean, look.
Well, we're going to sign off because we went way into soccer time. I think Ted, I'm getting very worried. We only do soccer time 2 nights a week now. We do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Well, we'll sneak a few minutes in.
And we go a little because we really want people to hear Dr. Maria. And I'm telling you, we had her on earlier tonight, and you said we're going to pick out. You can do me a favor. We're going to pick out a couple of Dr. Maria sequences. We're going to send you to them. We're going to discuss them.
Yeah, I like
on our
that.
own. We're going to go ahead and we're going to see how much he contributed. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked.
Right.
But the rest of this week, I mean, I think we're getting there on Iran. I think we're getting there, Ted. I do.
Right.
I think we're getting there.
It's
now, today's only Tuesday. There's a big long week coming up.
Right. It's only Tuesday, and what we're hearing all these different reports, but it appears that even more assets have been put into place. I'm not sure if that's just, I'm guessing U.S., Israeli. So
I think we're at the stage with whatever additional happens will be us, because I've watched the president, and this could be Pete also.
Right.
Don't tell anybody this. They trust only us.
Who's that?
Pete and the president.
Oh yeah.
He's not putting the lives of his boys and girls in the hands of anybody else but Americans. That's why he's got half of our Navy there.
I see what you're saying.
They're there to save our lives. They're not there they went past being able to handle Iran before they got the last deployment there. I mean, they were able to handle them with 1/3 of this.
Right.
They're there to try to achieve the impossible goal, hopefully not, of eliminating all loss of human life on our side.
Right. And
Minimum on theirs.
right. And how many other
None.
nations?
None. But what other country?
Global powers in the history of the world act like we do, or even Israel, of course.
But what other country or what other civilization cares about human life like we do? None.
Well, clearly not Russia. That's for damn sure.
Russia.
Right. Well,
God, yeah.
Present day
Yeah.
examples. It's amazing, and it's a whole different mindset. I can't even I can't comprehend that way of thinking, and that's probably good. It's probably healthy that I can't.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Wow.
anything people should know about for tomorrow? What do you think?
Olympic update: the U.S. women's hockey team will be taking on the Canadian hockey team for the gold medal.
Get out of here.
So let's get.
Now that's a game that even excites me. And I'm angry at the Olympics somewhat, but not the hockey team. So and given the
that's on Friday.
And given on Friday
afternoon we can watch
tomorrow's Wednesday. We got a little time.
1:10 p.m. on Friday.
When?
1:10 p.m.
Oh, we
Eastern
can watch
Friday.
it.
Yep.
I think. I hope.
Yep.
Unless somebody wants us to work.
Yeah. Well, we can have it on as we can have it on as we.
Mike, don't assign anything. Dr. Maria, no assignments. You don't know she's the boss.
They've picked up on that by now.
Yeah, I mean,
our longtime listeners.
I'm sorry, boys, you can't watch. You fool around too much. Every once in a while, she gets upset that we talk too much.
Right. Yeah. Well,
we bullshit.
Talk about.
Well,
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're supposed to be covering a story on our great president who we both love, and a good story comes up on the Dodgers really going to get another player.
Yeah. Right. We go into it. But hey, I mean, look.
That's why it's fun to work with you, Ted.
That's how I feel about you, man.
You're like a real guy.
You're like a man, right?
You're like a real guy.
You talk sports, politics.
Yeah, come on. You got to like the people
Women.
you work with. So
Right.
I'm going to end with this because I don't understand it, and I hope this guy's a genius. But this is the picture I showed you last night. This is the mock-up of the guy, theoretically, not the guy who did it, but the guy who's hanging around in the spacesuit. And he came up with that face. If you look in the corner, you see what he had to work with.
That's Mayor. How do you feel about this? I was telling you, I just don't know.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm.
Did you use these guys?
Sure, but I don't remember ever having so little to work with. I mean, meaning.
I'm gonna see if I can bring that up.
Isn't it terrible? I should think about it more, and I'm supposed to be here to give answers.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was a good or a bad idea. Because I don't know. I'm going to see if I can go back and see what this guy may be a genius beyond all compare. And I'll go back and I'll look at it and I'll say, oh my God, I am wrong.
Here he is on the screen there.
I
guess we can only compare it if they do find the.
If you look like that, you're getting picked up. I hope you don't look like that and you're not the guy. I mean, oh boy.
Well, I was going to say,
that's a pretty definitive face.
But wouldn't this person, if they're smart, have cut their hair by now and shaved that beard?
Yeah, but it's the shape of the nose and the eyes and the cheekbones that it doesn't matter. You can take that off. You can still recognize that guy. What I'm saying is he created a very defined face.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the guy's very handsome. I mean, I think the guy's classically good looking. We'll have to see, Ted. But time for everybody to get some rest. We'll be back tomorrow. During the years of transition and reformation that we're going through, we never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's a very good
We
point.
never know.
Keeps things exciting. I mean,
we could be fighting. We could be making peace. We could find some place where there's a war nobody knows about, and he'll go over there and settle it because he's trying to settle every war He heard that there were two little street gangs that were.
Well, we can report this news
He
now.
said Steve Witkoff and Jared to solve a street crime battle in lower Los Angeles. Yes, Ted.
Well, we want to do a quick announcement on a couple of our friends. It is public now. Trisha McLaughlin, and this is sad to report because we love her and we love.
What happened?
She's leaving.
Bad about
she's leaving on good terms.
No,
and she was actually reportedly supposed to leave in December, but stayed on with all of the incidences in Minnesota.
I just saw her the other day. I thought she was doing so well. I said to someone watching it with me, I don't think it was you. I said, "Wow, you know, I'm surprised." I mean, she and Carolyn, and they're so young.
Right. And and we knew Trisha back on the Vivek campaign.
Yeah, I don't even know.
And so I want to get this up here because
maybe that's why she was on Fox today doing a long interview.
So she's leaving, and I'm not gonna have time to put up. I wanted to put up words to explain what's happening here.
We'll put it on tomorrow.
Yeah,
is she leaving now or?
I believe imminently. But the good news. Good news.
Yeah, good news.
One of her.
Let's leave on good news.
Two individuals will be replacing her.
That's a great tribute to you. The two people are going to replace you.
And I'm trying to get a good picture of her here. I got one here with the president. This is our friend Katie Zachariah will be joining as, I want to get the titles. There's Lauren Biss, who I know, you may know her, also a young, impressive woman, is taking over Trisha's job. Katie is also coming on, who we have on our show here. Katie Zachariah.
Katie is gonna
be a spokesperson.
What is Katie gonna do? She's gonna take over her job.
In a way, I think they're splitting it between Lauren Biss, a young woman named Lauren Biss, who I'm sure some of you will see more of, and then Katie, which will be doing.
She's like her boss.
I'm not sure who's over who in the rankings.
Well, I shouldn't say that. That always gets people annoyed.
I actually don't know.
She's the more senior. She's obviously the more senior.
Right.
Right.
Well, I don't know either. Lauren has been there since day one.
Oh.
Katie's coming in from the outside, but obviously we know Katie's great on TV. We expect to see a lot more of her, as a spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security.
So now she has been like the singular spokesperson, pretty much. She's been out there on all the tough stuff. Is there someone like that? That's the principal.
Lauren Biss, the Department of Homeland Security's Deputy Assistant Secretary for Media Relations, will replace Trisha McLaughlin, and Katie Zachariah, our friend, will be spokesperson and Deputy Assistant Secretary.
Well, she's something. Sounds to me like that's like the communications director. You want to get it, and the other's more of the press secretary.
Right. Similar to what we have at the White House with Stephen Chung.
But nowadays it's hard to know because, like in the White House, the communications director.
We don't see him.
Right, because
Stephen Chung. We see him.
Caroline's not the communications
director. She's the spokeswoman, the White House press secretary.
But she's about as high as you get in communications.
Well, yeah, of course, because everyone sees her, right? She's got the platform where Stephen Chung is the communications director. But as we know, I mean, that takes a lot, right? Directing all the communications is much more than just those briefings. And so with DHS, we know they have a whole media department there. And so we're sad to see Trisha go. We're excited for Katie. And I got to see when Trisha's leaving because we've talked and she's been planning to come on the show. I believe we tried to get on the phone once, but I'm going to talk to her. It'd be nice to get her on. Maybe after she's out, but let's get her on. And of course, we'll plan on having Katie on.
We'll try.
Plan on having Katie on.
One of the things we don't do, we don't pester them.
We really don't.
If they want to come on and they have something to communicate, we get them. If not, we can figure out how to get the information to you.
Right.
The main thing is you have to be respectful of the difficult jobs they're doing.
Oh my goodness.
And also the difficult positions they're in where they might, God forbid, give away information they don't want to give away and then be in trouble or have done something to prejudice an investigation.
Right.
If they are serious people, it's a very difficult job.
Right.
And you're on the hook all the time. And I know because my prosecutors were brutal with press people. Brutal.
Yeah. Right.
Brutal. Every time they made a stupid mistake, they wanted them fired. I said, if we do that, we'll run out of You'll have to do it. Oh, I want to do it.
Right. So
I didn't sign up to be a press person.
Some people love it.
I come from Holden.
Well, as you know,
you come from the place that hate Jews. I'm Jewish.
but as you know, in politics, there are people that love being in front of the cameras that shouldn't be.
Some people hate it.
People that are deathly afraid of them.
That's more so even in the prosecuting world. In politics, if you hate going in front of the cameras, what the hell are you doing in politics?
Right. Yeah.
But in legal work, it's a little different. A lot of it is done behind camera, without camera.
Without camera. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. There. You also have lawyers sometimes, and this relates to trial or even appellate law. You have lawyers that just aren't good verbal communicators, but they're great writers.
I'm sure you deal with that.
And that's a talent that, particularly in a serious court, is important. In a not so serious court, they don't read anything. You might as well send them memes.
Yeah, right.
That should be the new thing
for New York State Court.
I'm thinking of that. That might be a new breakthrough in law. Send them little cartoons.
Well, some of these courts we had to go through the last few years, it's like the decision was already made. They just wasted all of our time.
Yeah.
You didn't have to go in there.
Are you finished, Mr. Giuliani? Yes. The 450 pages.
Remember that? It's like out of a bad movie. I'm sitting in the back, like someone's got to say something. I think somebody did Judge, you came back with 2 minutes.
Who said that?
It was you.
The defendant said it, which he shouldn't.
Which he shouldn't have. But I will say this. I'm not going to say which judge. It did appear at least one of them. I'm not going to say who. They were still nasty to you, but they, for whatever reason, did give you a little bit more deference, than your average
the judge
defendant.
knew I was right. He's a smart man.
Yeah.
He knew he was right.
Yeah. So I remember that. Yes, you did. I'm like, because anyway, yeah. Well, man, we could write books about those.
Yeah, we should have specials on that.
Yeah.
But we'll be back tomorrow night. We'll see a lot going on. Wow. And we have the State of the Union speech coming up next week.
A week away. Well, most years we've covered it. And we've come on after, so we'll probably plan on doing it.
Yeah, well, I'll see what we do. Maybe we'll see what happens.
Biden's last.
Don't they have it between 9 and 10, or 8 and 9?
I think it does start. I think prime time.
It's 9 and 10.
I think Biden probably did it at like
theoretically,
6.
Our show. I mean, if we don't do.
You're right. We lead into it.
Our show's over.
We lean into it,
and then we've decided sometimes to come on after.
We did 2 years ago because it was Biden's last one, and we're like, "Is this guy gonna?"
Well, we weren't sure if he's going to be. We thought we'd be doing a trip to the hospital.
Right. Yeah. And then Trump's first last year, but I think we'll probably cover this one too.
Oh yeah, we'll cover it. I think so. I mean, I don't see any reason why not.
Right.
Well, pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the people of Ukraine. Please, 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 please. Pray for the people of Venezuela. Please. Pray for the people of Iran. And I ask you this in different ways every night. So tonight, the best prayer that I can make for the American people right now is for you to pray for Donald J. Trump, because he embodies the American people, and the wisdom of the decision that he makes, how he makes it, and how he carries it out will affect a great deal of our future history. He has the advisors, he has the intellectual ability, he has the emotional stability to make the decision as well as any president in American history. But no one can make this decision without your guidance, dear God. It's your world, it's your people. We're just doing the best we can. So give him something extra. Huh? He deserves it. He's been a good servant for you and for us. So let's pray for Donald J. Trump tonight. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I just want to get this across to you really, really strong. I'll just take a short little break here because I see that wonderful, app, Hallow, which I'm thinking very seriously of joining, maybe as part of Lent, because I like to do like a little special a reflection every day in Lent. Sometimes I use the Roman breviary, but I think that I might do that. I'll let you know tomorrow if I decide I'm going to look it over tonight. But sometimes you get the sense that prayer is Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, or Hail Mary, full of grace. And it is. Those repetitious prayers are kind of really, really good to get you into a meditative state because you're repeating the same words. But sometimes prayer is just having an informal conversation with the person who loves you the most. And you know that. He loves you the most. So there are a lot of different ways to pray. But do it. It can't hurt you. And, as one of the great philosophers said, I'm not sure I can stretch it to this, but he sure would have said it if by a question. If God doesn't exist, by praying, you've synthesized your thoughts and gotten yourself into a much more rational state of mind where you know what you're thinking, you know what is affecting you, you know what's making you feel guilty or powerful or whatever. And you've acknowledged it in front of a greater authority, much greater. If God doesn't exist, that's a fabulous intellectual exercise. Now, let's think about if God does exist. If God does exist, you may go on straight to heaven. So, the power of prayer, when I see there are a lot of people saying, he just offered his prayers. Boy, you have anything better to offer. Okay. So, see you tomorrow night. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common